Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Rise Crypto Show. I'm, of course, Chris Rise Crypto, and today I am joined by my crypto kitty, Forrest, who has been especially really loving today, and so yeah, he's been wanting to sit in my lap, so I'm gonna give him some time here to sit in my lap and do a video with me. But this video I want to kind of keep a little short and sweet. I wanted to do an updated video about practice change and kind of explain to everybody watching and listening a little bit more about what the practice change philosophy is all about. Now, when I first started my channel, I had put out a few videos so you could check out my past content and check out the early practice change videos. But I wanted to do this especially with all the violence and stuff that's been going on in the world lately, all the mass shootings, which has just been insane. I'm not going to go into it. All the racism, all the division between humanity, between skin color to culture to gender to identity to sexual orientation and so much more. I mean, there's so much division between us all. And I created practice change so that I would be publicly accountable to something. I've tried changing several times in the past, and when things start going right and getting better, I get comfortable. I start falling back into old ways and old habits, as some of you might. And not that I was like an extremely bad person or anything to that effect, but there's things that I've done that I'm not proud of. There's parts of who I've been that I don't like, and I really wanted to change that. And this is a way for me to continue growing and becoming the best person that I can possibly be. Learning from every experience, and trying to truly be the change that I want to see in this world. Gandhi really inspired me with the quote, "Be the change that you want to see in this world." So you might wonder why at the end of my videos I say, and as always, I encourage you to be the change by practicing change. I wrote down notes so I can make sure I got everything I wanted to say in this, because this is a really important video. I encourage others to be the change that they want to see in this world, and the only way I can do that is by doing it myself. I have and I still have issues, but I try to be more mindful now than I was in the past. And this path really truly starts with loving yourself. That's the core root of all this. Like, you can't truly change or even want to change if you don't love yourself. And you can't love anybody else more than you love yourself. That might sound selfish, but if you really listen to what I'm saying, you can't give more out than what you have. So take that in consideration. And once you start loving yourself, practice change becomes a lot easier. This path is not an easy path. It could be a hard path. And it's not the same for everyone. We are all different individuals. And practice change can be different for different people. But ultimately, it ends up with the same results, because the whole point and goal is to be the change that you want to see in this world. And by practicing change, you can practice daily. Daily. And like I said, it's not an easy walk. It can be a struggle. But remember this. Change does not come from easy times or comfortability. What I mean is, change comes from discomfort, uncomfortability, and doing things that you may not like or enjoy. That's the only way that we grow as individuals. So even though I say this path is different for everybody, at the core of practice change, for me, and this is what I try to encourage with the whole philosophy of practice change, is 1, loving yourself. Learn to love yourself. That was something I struggled with. I still struggle with it from time to time. But learn to love yourself. Loving others as you love yourself. That means not judging people. That means truly treating people how you want to be treated. Imagine if we actually lived in a world where every single person, every single interaction was based off of treating people the way that you want to be treated. And I know it'll probably take a long time for us as humans to evolve to that point, but I want to see it start with me. And so I try to encourage other people as well. Also, becoming mindful and more aware of your actions. And what I mean by that is just think about things before you do them or say them. Think about how it will result, whether good or bad, or positive or negative. And speaking of, there are consequences from everything. Whether those consequences are good or bad, or positive or negative, there are still consequences. So if we learn from all of it, the good, the bad, the positive, the negative, then we can help not to repeat our own history or the same history as other people have, in just by constantly making the same mistakes over and over and over again. So I encourage you to take those things into consideration. I'll review it. Loving yourself, loving others as you love yourself, treating people how you want to be treated, becoming more mindful and aware, and learning from all actions, from everything you say and do. There are consequences, good, bad, positive, or negative. Learn from it all. Now, I don't like the word religion or religious, but if you're a spiritual person, and I prefer to use the word spiritual person or spirituality, then cling to that in this path. You can incorporate this philosophy and this way of life in your spiritual beliefs. I personally have tried to study all different faiths that I can, and learn from them. And I call it practice change because we get to practice this daily. I will make mistakes, but the thing is that we will progress if we learn, if we take an evaluate daily. When you wake up, think about the things you did, or before you go to bed, think about your day. Review that day. Review all the things you did, good and bad, positive and negative, and think about how you can improve. So the next day, you can be a better you. So the next day, I can be a better me. So that I can be the change that I want to see in this world, and so that you can be the change that you want to see in this world. And I am personally a spiritual person. I was raised as a Christian. Like I said, I've studied many faiths, religions, beliefs. I try to stay open-minded. I try to stay as non-judgmental as I can. As far as the sense of the traditional Christianity, I do not identify with that. I do identify with Jesus Christ. And if you want to talk about spirituality with me, my contact information is down below. I don't want to make this about spirituality, but I have learned the most from Jesus Christ and other teachers like the Buddha. In fact, the whole term practice change came from me looking into Buddhism. What I had learned is Christians call themselves Christians. Anybody who's of any faith calls themselves that name of that faith. So, but a Buddhist doesn't call themselves a Buddhist. They call themselves a practicing Buddhist or Buddhist. And the reason they do this is because to be a Buddhist, you would to have obtained the enlightenment that has been achieved, and therefore would no longer be in existence, because once you have achieved that enlightenment per that faith, you move on And what that means, I don't know. But to be a Buddhist and practice that faith, you are a practicing Buddhist. So I really like the term. Um, I am a I'm a practicing follower of Christ, a follower of the way, you might say, on the narrow path. But you can learn from other faiths, other people, other individuals, other belief systems. I do not discourage you from exploring and learning, not trying to convince anybody to change their faiths or their beliefs. But I think that for us to be non judgmental and tolerant people, we should have a better understanding. And I think that that is kind of key to all of this. So I hope this gives you a better understanding of what practice change is all about. Obviously, I do talk about cryptocurrencies. I do talk about decentralization and blockchain, economics, anarchist and voluntarist related topics. But practice change is really the core of it all. We talk about changing the world with these technologies. We talk about wanting to break away from certain systems and make things different or better. And I say we need to do the same thing with ourselves and humanity as a whole, because we can change the world and make the world a better place with technology and such and whatever. But we're still going to keep having the same problems if we don't change who we are as people and start evolving into more loving, caring individuals and really truly treating people how we want to be treated. So, if this is your first time ever checking out any of my content, this is a little too deep, I apologize, but I like to try to keep it as real as possible. I do encourage you to check out my content, explore my channel. If you like what I'm doing, you can support me by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing. I do got to give a shout out to the Rise Crypto Show sponsors. Huddle Brand hooks me up with the most awesome crypto apparel. I'm going to have links down below so you can check out their website. You can also get 10% off using my code. And shout out to Monarch Wallet, the other Rise Crypto Show sponsors, one of the sponsors. And I will have links down below so you can check out their website and the interview that I did with Monarch President Robert Beatles. I apologize about my voice. My allergies have been really acting up, and I didn't want to take a drink, but I'm about to wrap this up. So I'm going to end it like I always end it. As always, I encourage you to be the change by practicing change. And now you have a better understanding of what practice change is all about. And I love you all.